date, so just get a fair warning.
Why does that matter?
I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't really remember a lot of the notes that I had written down, so.
What's your go-to date spot in Dallas?
Go-to date spot is Black Beer and Table, hands down. It's
Black or black?
Black, BLATT. So you can try like all these like little craft beers that come out like these like little shooters. I know the owner there, so he hooks me up, so it's pretty cheap.
Nice. Well, I don't have any intro music because we're on YouTube today, so let's just get loaded and welcome to the, there's another nice one, to the Loaded Box Podcast.
Where we never finished first because we finished last. So we don't have intro when we're on YouTube?
Not today. Welcome to the Loaded Box Podcast. I'm Ben Morgan. It's DJ Primo, and that's Mitchell Renz of Chat Sports. Mitchell, why don't you go ahead, do your thing, tell us where people where they can find you after you sip that beer.
Cheers to you guys. Thanks for having me on. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365, on Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365, and please check out Chat Sports on YouTube at Chat Sports. Please subscribe. We just crossed that 65K mark, so it's a humble brag there.
Humble brag. Let's talk a little bit more about that date you were on real quick. What was the best part?
Best part of the date with Karina was...
Ooh, name drop.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, she was a really good-looking girl. Really good-looking girl. So
How many names has he dropped on our fucking podcast?
All the names. Man, he's a name dropping.
No, Karina's a cool chick. So we went to this really awesome breakfast place, and we hit up some craft beers. She's a smoking hot chick, and she loves craft beer, so that's probably the best part of it.
She TTF?
We'll find out. We might hang out tonight. So.
Ooh, we're definitely going to find out tonight then. Nice.
Send us some videos, please.
Hopefully we get a little bit more from Mitchell as we...
I asked if she sends nudes, so we'll see.
I need to live vicariously through somebody, so...
Was this the first date?
What?
Was this the first date?
Oh, yeah. Well, I told her about my show, Fantasy Football AF, and I was like, I do a segment on there, Master Debaters, and this week I did one, Do You Send Nudes? And, yeah, I do send nudes, so it's all good.
All right, we're gonna we're gonna DM Mitchell later. Hopefully about hers though. So today we're doing fantasy football dealer's choice. It's basically a roundtable discussion where we're gonna go around, each person picking a topic we're gonna discuss, and then we're gonna move on to the next person's topic. So topics are going to be awesome since this is literally the top podcasting trio in the world. So like we just did, crack a few beers and enjoy. And with that, are you two ready for my first dealer's choice?
Go for it.
Good. Antonio Brown, Saquon Barkley, Leonard Fournette, and Odell Beckham Jr. are all on the board, and you're up in a standard scoring league. Who are you taking? Mitchell, kick us off.
God, the names again.
I was just going to say I need the names.
Antonio Brown, Saquon, Leonard Fournette, OBJ.
All on the board. Who am I taking?
Yep.
Standard League, I'm taking Antonio Brown, and it's actually not that difficult for me. So I just think Antonio Brown, in just terms of consistency, over the last 5 years, he's averaged 116 catches. There wasn't even a receiver last year who had 116 catches. I mean, it's 5 straight years over 100 catches, right. 1,250 yards, 10 touchdowns. So when it comes to AB, no worries about anything about him. I love AB.
DJ, what's your pick of these people on the board?
I would take Saquon Barkley. I'm just going to risk it all on Saquon. I've said that many a times. I think his ceiling is just so high, and he has a skill set I haven't ever seen. I'm just overly excited about him. When it comes down to it, if his quarterback gets injured, I'm not worried. If Antonio Brown's quarterback gets injured, I'm a little more worried. So I think no matter what, Saquon's going to put up monster numbers. I'm going to take that chance to fail with Saquon, even though we haven't seen anything. His upside to me is just way too sexy.
Well, what's Antonio Brown's upside? Last year, Antonio Brown had 106 catches. 2 years ago, Antonio Brown had 136 catches.
Yeah, but I have a wide receiver that I already think that I can get will be as talented as him later, and I want that elite running back.
Who's as talented as Antonio Brown again?
I think I can get the same numbers from the wide receiver that I want later.
Who?
Don't worry about it.
You're telling me you have a wide receiver that's going to put up Antonio Brown type numbers?
I think I have a guy who's going to put up 17 touchdowns compared to maybe 10, and the yards will put Antonio Brown close.
17, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
17 touchdowns.
Fuck yeah, boy.
Guarantee it's Devonta Adams, right?
That was simple, right? All right, the reason I brought this topic up is because DJ and I talked about it on one of our last podcasts. Like with Saquon being the 5th pick right now in drafts, like 5th or 6th, how are you taking him in that spot when you have guys like Antonio Brown, Leonard Fournette, Odell Beckham Jr., Julio Jones, even in my opinion? Like, how are you not taking those proven guys over a rookie that plays for the New York Giants? Like, that does not make sense to me at all. You cannot possibly do that and feel good about that pick.
Because wide receivers are so fucking deep in fantasy football, you can be comfortable with like two guys that you think are going to finish in the number 2 spot of wide receivers between 13 and 24. So I mean, I'm more apt to get a high upside running back than a wide receiver because there's so many good wide receivers out there. The depth is exponentially greater.
That is the best theory that I have heard on that yet, and I'm going to let it sit there, and I want to get through a bunch of these, so let's wrap this one up.
Here we go.
DJ, go ahead with your first dealer's choice. This is our rotation. It's me, DJ, Mitch. We're going from prettiest to ugliest.
All right, I'm going to skip my first one because I think you were going to talk about him, so we'll come back to that. I'm going to say, why is people sleeping on Kenyon Drake? ADP of 4.03, RB22. I'm going to go first on just reasons why I love this guy. When J.J. was traded, Drake kind of bursted onto the scene, just out of nowhere. Ben, you know this better than anybody. And just kind of went off. He had like 3 weeks in a row of more than 15 points, I believe it was. And I went back and watched the video of this guy, and I just noticed things I didn't notice when I was watching him on TV. He's got a great burst. He's got more size than I thought. I thought he was a little skinnier. Maybe that was just from college, but he's got a lot more thickness than I thought. Good low center of gravity, great vision, and the one thing I love to say about Kenyon Drake, he's got some wiggle. He's got some wiggle.
Got that wiggle.
Yeah, he's got that wiggle. And look at this. He plays in a division where every team was bottom half of the league against the run. Every one of those teams has bad defense. The Bills were 29th against the run. Jets were 24th, Pats were 20th. All just not good defenses. That's just a fact. I just don't think that you could argue the fact that they may be behind and they might be throwing a lot, because if they do have to throw the ball, Kenyon Drake's going to be involved in the passing game. So I would vault him up higher. I would love to grab that guy in the 3rd round as my RB2 because I think he finishes in the top 15 this year.
I'll let Mitchell talk about this one.
So you're grabbing Kenyon Drake, who's got wiggle, who's got extra thickness.
Yeah.
Got it. No, I understand the love for Kenyon Drake. It's just I am not totally sold that the Dolphins are totally sold on Kenyon Drake. Like, there's a reason they went out and they looked at guys like DeMarco Murray. There's a reason Frank Gore is the RB1 on that depth chart. Do I totally agree with it? No, I think Kenyon Drake's better than Frank Gore at this point, but Frank Gore still is a living human being, guys. Like, 1,200 total yards from scrimmage every single year since 2005, and yeah, it's not sexy, but Frank Gore's there, and he's going to get some work, and I think that's why a guy like Kenyon Drake's numbers, his ADP is pushed down, and he looked good this past week in the preseason, but, like, all reports are right now that Kalen Ballage is going to work in, and Frank Gore's going to be there too, so, like, for some reason, the Dolphins don't trust running backs. When Lamar Miller was there, he was clearly the best guy.
Right.
Didn't give him the ball. Do I know why? No, and that's a team, the Dolphins, that I just don't want any part of. I think they are the biggest dumpster fire in the NFL right now.
I wouldn't call them the biggest dumpster fire. I think that
the Bills.
yeah, their second biggest dumpster fire.
Gotcha.
I'm okay with Kenyon Drake at his current ADP. I'm not like going out of my way to draft him, and I'm not totally ducking him just because DJ and I talked about this a little bit earlier. It's at the end of the game when the Dolphins are down and they're just taking what the defense will give them. That's Drake all day, just dump down passes. Like, he's going to eat up receiving yards. He's going to eat up receptions. He's going to put up points and yards no matter what, just because I think he will be the guy. But just like Mitchell said, like, for some reason they won't put all of their faith into him, and no one knows why. They're bringing in Gore for like this retirement party. They're drafting Ballage. Not like they drafted him super early, but man, they're giving him a lot of work in preseason before his concussion. So it's really confusing as to what they're going to do. And if there's one thing about Adam Gase, he says he wants to run the ball, and he'll try it in the first quarter, and he will abandon it ASAP. Like, he does not stick to the run. So if you're drafting Drake, you better hope that they're throwing the ball you better hope that they're throwing the ball to Drake, because he's not always going to get consistent carries.
I hate when an NFL coach is like, we're really going to try to get him the ball. Like,
right.
I'm really going to try to get like that guy the ball. Then freaking just give him the ball. Like, and it drives me nuts. Like, Kenyon Drake is by far the most talented offensive weapon they have on that team, and I like a guy like Kenny Stills, who I think is slept on a lot in a lot of leagues, and I just don't get how you can't see how good a guy like Kenyon Drake was last year. Led the NFL in rushing over the last 5 weeks of the year, like 434 yards. Like, dude was really good. Dude outscored like Todd Gurley, I believe, in terms of like those last 5 weeks. Sure, Gurley sat out the last week, but he still dropped the stat. But like, it's one of those things. Like, Drake was really good last year, and he's a lot bigger than a lot of people give him credit for. It's just the Dolphins don't trust him, and that's why I don't trust Kenyon Drake. And it's really as simple as that for me.
Yeah. DJ, you want to add anything, or can we move on?
Move on.
All right, Mitchell. Dealer's choice, you're up.
Sweet. Mine is. Oh,
God damn it, Mitchell.
Damn it, Mitchell. We're live on YouTube today, and you're freaking got. What girl is that? Is that Katrina?
Carricchio?
Serena?
No, it's an alarm that I had to join this podcast with you. Box.
That's hilarious.
Starting early.
But no, so mine is. Last time we talked, guys, we talked about running backs, and we talked about Ezekiel Elliott, and you had him as your RB1. Either that, or I listened to a podcast where Zeke was your RB1.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff going on right now with Zeke, and I don't know what's going on with the offensive line. And I was asked the other day, David Johnson or Ezekiel Elliott? And originally before, it was pretty easily Zeke, and I was trying to get Zeke as my number 1 overall pick. I love Zeke. So I want to ask you guys, Zeke or David Johnson right now with the information that's out?
Let me kick this one off, because I was the one, if you heard that podcast, that I had Zeke number 1. And honestly, if we would re-record that podcast, Zeke would probably be my 3, maybe 4 right now. I hate what is happening to that offensive line. That's literally what that team relies on. Like, that's been their bread and butter. Zeke's good. He's going to make any offensive line look better than what they probably are. But if that's ineffective, and then you have a pass rush coming in and they can't pass block for Dak, and then the pass game's ineffective and they're playing from behind, Zeke isn't the guy that's going to get all these catches. He's not going to get all these garbage points. I don't think it's going to be terrible. I mean, they'll overcome some of these issues, but the whole Travis Frederick thing is scary, like on a actual human health issue.
Yeah.
Like, that's really bad, like what he's going through. So, yeah, with everything there, and then if you have these top picks, why take the chance on a guy where there's all these question marks when you can get a guy like David Johnson, who, before a wrist injury, had 20 touchdowns and 2,000 yards? Yeah, I would shift him down if we were to redo that episode. I don't know where DJ lands on that, but yeah, I'm all about David Johnson right now.
As of now, I think I'm still on Ezekiel Elliott a little bit higher. I just think with the volume, and he's still got he's just that talent, you're going to see tons of touchdowns out of that guy, because that's what he did 2 years ago when he was on the field for all 16 games. He's going to get the ball at the goal line. He's going to be their workhorse. He's underrated receiver as well. As far as consistency goes, and a guy that I've watched play, I think their offense is a little bit better than Arizona's. That's where I worry with David Johnson. So I'm still on Ezekiel Elliott, but they're close for me. But I'm still favoring Ezekiel Elliott.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things. Like, exactly, like when I went back and I looked at it, people are like freaking out about Zeke, about the offensive line. But in all honesty, Zeke's offensive line right now probably still better than David Johnson's, and I still think the Cowboys' offense is still better than the Cardinals. But I think David Johnson, from a talent standpoint, I would argue David Johnson's the most talented running back in the NFL, and I'm actually not afraid to say that. I think he can catch the ball, he can run. I think he's the most talented running back in the NFL. Well, I mean, I think it's hard to argue. I think you put David Johnson on a team like the Rams, I would love to see the numbers he puts up. You put him on a team like the Steelers, would love to see the numbers he puts up. He's on a bad Cardinals team, and he still put up a shit ton of, 2,116 yards, 20 touchdowns. Like, the dude is a legit wide receiver who plays running back, and he's 6'2", and he just pulls all over people. So, like, right now in my rankings, it's like David Johnson, Zeke, and right now even like in a PPR league, I won't even take Antonio Brown over Zeke. And before, it was the top 4 running backs.
Yep.
I don't hate that.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, like we were talking about depth at a position, with this news about Zeke, it's changing a lot of things for me. Like, it really is.
Yeah. Are we passing the deck?
Pass it on.
All right, before we do that, real quick, if you haven't signed up yet, make sure you get qualified for that OBJ autograph mini helmet. Follow us on Twitter @LoadedBox. Find the tweet with the details of that contest. Mitchell, I know you've already done that. Retweet the tweet, tag a friend, get entered to win. We teamed up with Pristine Auction on this giveaway. Make sure you're following them as well. They've got daily auctions packed with tons of stuff for the man cave. As you can see behind DJ, he's got a lot of nice stuff in his man cave. They guarantee their items. They all come with certificates of authenticity. DJ, that's how you say that word, authenticity. From only be trusted. You got it. It's also affordable. You don't always think you can afford all this autographed memorabilia, but it's more affordable than you think. Quick and free, easy to register, free to bid. You only pay when you win. Make sure you mention the Loaded Box podcast in the How Did You Hear About Us section when you register. So head over to pristineauction.com today. That's pristine, Pristine, auction.com. And with that, I'm going to go into my next dealer's choice. The cards are in my hand, and I'm ready.
You should have showed the helmet there.
Let me go get it really quick. Filler noise.
He's gonna go get the helmet right now, but we're still like podcasting. It's not on video, so we need to like filibuster here, Mitchell. And here he comes back.
This is proof. This is the real thing, signed by Odell Beckham Jr. Even though his autograph is like a big O with another O inside of it, it's got a certificate of authenticity inside that proves it. So there you go, folks. It's real. I'm not lying to you guys. With that said, good call, DJ. All right, here.
Professionalism.
Yeah, you got it. All right. These are three options here. Are you drinking heavily? Are you drinking casually? Or are you not drinking at all during your live fantasy football draft?
Who's going first?
You are. You started talking.
I am drinking heavily. I can't, you know what, I only know one way, and that's go fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Ricky Bobby would not allow me to drink casually or not drink at all. I go fast. I go balls to the wall. It does take quite a few beers, I think, at the point where we are in our lives, Ben, to get us drunk.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna be about 10 beers in before we start to really feel it. So 10 beers in, we're probably in, I'd say, a beer a round. So we're probably in the 10th round at that point. I can start to fall downhill at that point. Maybe I make a dumb pick that ends up making me look good. So fucking going, I'm balls to the wall, and then it gets even crazier afterwards.
Yeah, the after party is the after party. All right, Mitchell, what do you got?
Well, I wouldn't expect anything less from DJ, but I also don't know if there's even like black people allowed to be in NASCAR. So I don't really get. So, but no, I'm a casual drinker. I think the fantasy football draft is it all about fun, no doubt. But at the end of the day, I want to make really, really solid decisions. And if there's anything that I've learned here in Dallas, a few hours of bad decisions isn't worth it for an entire lifetime. So that's my advice.
That's why you have Plan B, though.
Yeah. Oh, Plan B so good it should be called Plan A. All right, my theory on the whole take is I would probably say that I'm going to drink casually, but after like 5 or 6 beers, I'm just like, all right, let's go. And the day that we give away this helmet, like that's literally the draft that we drink the most at. Yeah. And that's going to end up just like, you're going to want to drink casually, but we have a person who got last year that needs to be the beer bitch, and he needs to wear a costume while he does it. So like, I want to take full advantage of that. So I'm going to come in there with my rankings ready to go. So I literally know who to pick when I'm up. I'm going to drink Busch Lights like it's the last day on the world, and I'm going to have a good time, and I'm still going to finish in the top 6.
Bold. That's a really bold call there, top 6.
Bold.
God damn.
All right, I just passed the deck. Honest, DJ, you're up.
Nothing wrong with being a solid 6.
No.
Yeah. What do you think I am? People are going to see my face. I want to know my ranking now.
I meant inches, but that's fine. You can go.
Oh, I am not even close to 6 inches. More like 12, 13.
Yeah,
so let's talk a little bit about my zero tight end strategy. First, I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are on my zero tight end strategy. Like, and when I say zero tight ends, that means I'm not drafting a fucking tight end.
Ever.
Well, I'll pick one up probably every week, but I won't draft one in the draft.
Interesting. All right, so like I've heard like somebody like flirt this idea out there before. I would much rather do it with a kicker or a defense, not take them in the draft if you can, and then maybe take an extra running back or wide receiver who I think could be a lottery pick, and I would do the same thing with the tight end. But I don't know. I know a lot of leagues like don't allow you to do that, so I'm going to be against it because there's a few tight ends that I like who I like target in every one of my drafts. So I'm gonna say that I don't want to be on the zero tight end because I like tight ends.
Well said. I'm going to second the liking tight ends. It's better than a loose end. But I think why I disagree with it the most, and if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm not looking at you because I'm looking at the average draft position of tight ends right now. And you can legit get Jordan Reed, 8th or 9th round, David Njoku, end of the 9th, George Kittle, end of the 11th, Jack Doyle, one of Andrew Luck's favorite targets, in the middle of the 12th. Like, why not just take one of these guys late rather than having to worry about who am I going to drop? Who am I going to add? Is this person going to do anything? So I respect the waiting for the tight end strategy. I can't commit to the 0 tight end strategy.
So here's my thoughts, and this is why I don't just like draft. I hate tight ends. It's a known fact for me. In order to have like a top tight end in fantasy football, you essentially need to average probably around 10 points per week just to have a good tight end for fantasy football in general. You're going to get a few more from Rob Gronkowski, who's probably going to be more around 14, 15 points per week, and Travis Kelce, which I'm definitely not going to draft because they're just going too high. So essentially 10 points is a touchdown plus 40 yards. Week to week, I've realized that you're in a good spot. If, like, anytime my tight end or anybody else's tight end scores a touchdown, like, you get 6, 7 points, 8 points, I've noticed it's happy. You're happy. You're celebrating. My tight end fucking scored a few points, you know? So I've realized that by streaming tight ends, which I did last year, I was finding a solid 8 to 10 points every single week based on matchups. And just doing that, I essentially finished among the top tight end scorers in the league by just picking up a new tight end every week. So I'm like, why am I going to waste a draft pick when I can essentially grab a guy that may be a top running back or a wide receiver steal in the 7th, 8th round or whatever? I just don't. I want that extra pick to grab another running back because the running backs are so thin. I just want one more pick earlier to grab running back. So maybe I'll draft a tight end, but it's going to be one of the last 2 rounds. But most likely, and I didn't last year draft a tight end. I just kept picking them up. In one league, we actually have a free spot where you get a free pickup afterwards. So that's kind of what I did there. But that's my reasoning behind my theory.
You said waste the pick, and I mean, like, I don't know why you would ever waste a pick, and I'm not saying you are, but, like, how often is it where we can maybe find that late round tight end? Like, I remember in 2015, Tyler Eifert won me my league because I found a really late tight end. Jordan Reed a few years ago, unbelievable late round tight end guy. So, like, I understand, like, missing on a tight end and, like, going for a flyer, but I'll always be the guy that looks for that sleeper. And, like, right now, my sleeper tight end is Ricky Seals-Jones. Like, Sam Bradford is a noodle arm. He targeted Zach Ertz 112 times in 2015 or 2016. And then, 2015, Ertz had 112. And then Rudolph had 132 targets in 2016. So, like, I love a guy like Ricky Seals-Jones late. But, I mean, you're telling me right now, like, in certain drafts, like, Greg Olson's going super late. Greg Olson before last year was, like, 3 straight years of 1,000 yards. So, I won't be the guy that drafts Gronk or Kelsey or Ertz. Like, I won't draft those guys, but I'm Olsen right now going like tight end 6 in some drafts, tight end 7. Like, to me, like, that's good value, and I'll take that value. Or a guy like Ricky Seals-Jones. Like,
so, go ahead. Sorry.
You're fine. Like, Ricky Seals-Jones for me right now has been like round 14, and then I'll take my kicker and my defense, and I'm good with that.
So, to that point, Ricky Seals-Jones, I bet most of the leagues that I'm in, most people are going to take one tight end. He will be available on that free agency waiver wire. I'd be willing to bet that. And now I want to keep track of that. I bet that's a guy I can pick up after the draft. Because most people don't draft 2 tight ends anymore. They draft 1 and play it by ear. So, I mean, you take 12 full tight ends. I don't know if Ricky Seals-Jones is going to go in those 12s. I could grab him on the waiver wire. So that's another reason.
Now that you said that, DJ, I'm drafting 3 tight ends, forcing you to trade me at some point, and I'm going to get a king's ransom. So thank you.
I was all in on David Njoku when his ADP was 14th round.
Yeah.
Now he went up to the 9th. I'm out. I love Njoku more just
Isn't that
as much
BS?
as anybody, but he shot up 5 rounds.
Yeah, you had that. You were like, I'm getting Njoku late, and all of a sudden, boom, there he is, 9th round. Yeah. All right, let's put that one to bed. The cards have been passed, and Mitchell Renz, it's your deal.
Oh, shit, I'm up? All right.
Yeah.
All right, so I've been, like, doing a lot of stuff with quarterbacks recently, and I'm about to do some quarterbacks on my show tomorrow. And basically, like, what I've been hearing a lot about is Drew Brees, and it's kind of driving me nuts that people are hating on Drew Brees, right? So, I want to know from you guys right now, if you miss on, like, your favorite quarterback, so who's your favorite quarterback to target in drafts? And if you miss on him, what are some guys that you wait on late on? Like, who do you go after then?
Who do I go after? You just want to know who?
Yeah. Who's, like, your main guy? Like, your main guy who you're like, I'm going into the draft, and this is the guy I'm targeting. If I miss on him, I'm going to go for this guy. If I miss on him, I'm going to go for this guy. If I miss on him, I'm going to go for that guy. that make sense?
Yep.
Go ahead, Ben.
Okay. Wow, Mitchell could not have explained that any better. And DJ's like, dude, I don't know what the fuck to even say.
All right.
All
I'll go first. You want me to go first then?
I got it, Mitchell. I'm okay.
Okay.
All right. So honestly, I expect big things out of the Chargers this year. I hate the fact that they are cursed by injuries, but I'm not going to let that play a factor. I loved Hunter Henry coming into the year. I'm putting that to the side. I'm going to target Phillip Rivers. I love Keenan Allen. DJ sort of talked me into this. Mike, cheers. DJ's talked me into Mike Williams. I'm expecting bigger things with a healthy offseason there.
Yeah,
I think Melvin Gordon's going to get.
Fuck everybody.
You were. I think Melvin Gordon's going to be more active in the passing game, and I just think that this window right now with these core players that the Chargers have, their defense is coming around. It used to be obviously Achilles' heel. I think the Chargers are going to be a legit team, and I think Rivers is going to be a great quarterback to target. So if you're getting him as the 10th pick in the 9th round, I'm all in on that. And honestly, those guys after him on ADP, I'm cool with Matt Ryan. I'm cool with Jared Goff. I'm cool with Mariota. I'm cool with Derek Carr. I'm fine with a lot of those guys. So that'd probably be my game plan. I'm also cool with guys that are higher than him, such as Andrew Luck, who's going in the middle of the 8th, or Stafford early 9th. I'd be fine with them as well. And that's literally my strategy, because basically the top 8 in ADP, Brady, Wilson, Rodgers, Breeze, Newton, Wentz, Cousins, I don't need any of those guys, because I feel like the skill players that I get when I could be taking those guys, combined with my quarterbacks in the next tier down, are going to outscore whoever takes Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees or Tom Brady and their lesser skill player guys. So I'd be more than happy to wait for a quarterback this year.
Yeah. My turn?
Sure.
So the guy that I'm probably most likely targeting is going to be Matt Stafford in that early 9th round, because he typically finishes. I don't know why he drops that far. It doesn't make any sense to me. He's pretty much guaranteed to finish as a top 10 quarterback. I'd say he's more likely than not to finish as a top 7 with how much volume they have in passing and his talent. But if I do miss on him, there is one guy that I'm targeting and I will get no matter what. I will make sure I fucking get him. I'm going after Mitchell Trubisky. I don't know what his ADP is. It's probably around 14. But I'm all in on him, and if I miss on him in any league, I'm going to be more than upset. I think with Matt Nagy in there, they're going to open up that offense. I think Tarek Cohen's going to be used a lot like McCaffrey was last year, a lot like a slot receiver. I think Allen Robinson is going to be a target monster. Why? Whatever. He's throwing me off with the underlining of that. I'm all in on Mitch Trubisky this year. So those are my top 2 guys I'm going after. Answer
your own question, Mitchell.
So for me, it's no doubt the first guy I'm targeting is Phillip Rivers. So right now, according to ADP, Phillip Rivers is QB 12, and I want to be the last guy that takes a quarterback in my league. And if I miss on a guy like Rivers, I'm good with taking a guy like Matt Ryan, who's QB 13. And then I'm good taking a guy like Derek Carr, who was an MVP candidate in 2016. Dak Prescott, a lot of people are sleeping on him, and I'm not crazy about the Cowboys' offense, but Dak Prescott last year with Ezekiel Elliott was QB 3 in terms of points per game. QB 34 without him, which is obviously rough, but there was no Tyron Smith, which is, some rough games in there. So I think if Dak Prescott, you tell me, is, QB 10, I'm super happy with that. I mean, the guy still runs the ball. And then if I miss on all 4 of those guys, I'm going after Marcus Mariota. So, again, another guy who uses his legs. I think that offense is going to be a lot better. So I'm excited to see what those quarterbacks can do. But when I look at my rankings and stuff, it's Aaron Rodgers is no doubt the number 1 guy to me, right? I don't even, think about that. But then from, Russell Wilson at 2, so I think I have Ben Roethlisberger at 9 or Phillip Rivers at 10 for me. I could honestly make an argument where all those guys can get switched in for me. So I don't really see value in taking a guy like Russell Wilson or Tom Brady or Deshaun Watson. I understand the upside there, but Deshaun Watson's sometimes in drafts going in round 4,
right?
Round 3.
It's stupid.
I can get a guy like Doug Baldwin in that kind of round. So it's just one of those things for me. I am going to be the last guy that waits on the quarterback. I'm going to do a humble plug here, so hopefully you guys don't get mad. Fantasy Football AF on YouTube, on Chat Sports. You guys can check out my video. So I do quarterbacks. So.
Trying to take their attention off of you onto my titties.
Yeah, I think Mitchell's been reading my diary anyways. So
I mean, I agree with lots of things that he just said there. Though. I'm literally one of the last guys, Ben knows, to take a quarterback.
But why Trubisky? You're not worried about Trubisky because all reports this offseason on Trubisky have been he has not looked that good.
I think you've got back and forth conflicting reports. I hear he's not looking that good. He looks great. It's like every other series. Like he's doing this bad, then he's doing something good. I'm not worried about that. I've never been a guy who like buys in on this preseason shit. I was just talking to Ben that there's one guy I follow on Twitter. I'm not going to say any names, but like he uses preseason to validate everything that he's predicted. Like that's like the answers.
Oh, that's the
like
worst.
this is ridiculous. Like I can't even like watch it anymore. Some people just use preseason to validate like all of their predictions for the regular season. It just doesn't work like that. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Like
I hate that guy because that's the guy who. So like we always used to like talk about like scouting and stuff, right? So I used to play baseball.
Yeah.
And like if there's a guy that you love, everything that he does well, you're like, there he is. That's the validation. There it is. And it's the preseason, right? Like, or if it could be something where like, oh, Aaron Rodgers threw an incomplete pass, should be QB1. Like, and I just hate the preseason because of that. Like, I tried to get a hashtag going like week 1 that was like, relax, it's preseason.
Yeah.
Because like Saquon Barkley, right? I love Saquon. I think he's an unbelievable talent. I would argue, again, he's probably one of those guys from just a talent standpoint. I think he's more talented than Zeke. I think he's more talented than Le'Veon Bell, just from like a talent standpoint. I really do. Zeke is Barkley is that special. And when he broke off that 39-yard run, people freaked out.
Yeah.
Like all I did is I tweeted out literally just Saquon Barkley, and it got like 20 retweets, like 49 likes. Like that all it was Saquon Barkley, and it's. Preseason drives me insane, but I love it at the same time. And I hope, because the guy who I don't want any part of is Josh Gordon. I hope he plays preseason week 4 when no starters are on the field and absolutely nobody's playing, and he catches a touchdown or
Me
just
too.
makes a play. His ADP is going to go through the roof.
Me too.
Like,
That's why I was so.
Y'all can have him.
Right. That's why I was so
lots
pumped.
of times.
Go ahead, DJ.
Lots of times, the coaches are developing things around guys that they're not going to use during. It's a practice for just developing guys. Like lots of things, most of the things that they do in preseason are not anywhere near what's going to happen in the regular season. Not even close. Why would you do that? Because it's just a bunch of glorified practices. So it doesn't make any sense for you to like overhype anybody and think that validates what you're saying. And it just makes me so angry. I just scroll through Twitter and I almost slam my fucking phone through the wall so hard because I get so angry. People just think that everything that happens in preseason, good to their guys, is just validation of what's going to happen.
Right. I think it's my deal, but DJ, I know I screwed up the read the first time. Do you want to do this next one, or do you want me to knock it out?
You do it. I've never read it before.
All right, we're talking about Squad QL, folks. Do you want an unfair advantage to dominate your fantasy football league? Well, do ya? Look no further and download Squad QL, the only mobile app you need to crush your friends and rivals this year. Squad QL recommends the best starting lineup for you each week based on your starters, bench players, and free agent pool. Because you know how you're always wondering, who the hell do I start? Squad QL is going to tell you who to take. You may ask, how does Squad QL actually do this? Well, the app connects directly to your Yahoo, ESPN, and CBS leagues, pulling in your actual roster and your league scoring system. They then provide waiver and trade recommendations, plus the app gives you the player rankings each week. It's based on your league settings. They're truly the go-to app this fantasy football season. Head to squadql.com to download SquadQL, your all-in-one fantasy football manager. And with that, it is my turn, and I hope you guys are ready for this one, because this is probably my favorite question I'm going to ask you. Who is the worst guy to have at your fantasy football draft? 2 options. Nice pick guy or DJ? No. Nice pick guy or guy who asks if is certain player available guy? Who do you want? Mitchell, I'm going to have you go first.
So it's funny. So like my family fantasy football league, which is literally the reason why I do what I do, is now going on its 13th year, which is amazing to me, right?
That's as old as your girlfriend.
Right? No, she's at least 15. Like at least. So there's what pick is it? What is it? What pick is it?
Yeah.
Is that guy still available? So my uncle is like the guy who wears his glasses. He's like looking at his board, and he like can't get any names right ever. Like he is the king of like getting every single name wrong.
I
like,
love that guy too.
I'll take Earl Elliott, or like I'll take the one year he took Tim Brady, like literally from like the league. Like he's like, yeah, I'll take Tim Brady. And I'm just like, dude. Tim Brady was drafted 4 rounds ago. Like I don't even know who Tim Brady is. Like also the reason why we don't do auction leagues, because the one year he's a huge Vikings fan. So I was like, oh, I'll put Adrian Peterson up, Bears, and like said it really quick, and he's like, oh, $50 auction, and I'm just like, you can have them.
It's yours.
Like, you can have them. So I think I'll say, like, I know I'm not really answering the question. The guy who doesn't pay attention at the draft is the guy that drives me nuts. Like, don't say a guy who's already taken, or like we do the stickers and he'll be like, his name's not there. I'm like, it's because his name is underneath my team 4 rounds ago.
Right.
Like, that's where he's at. So that drives me nuts.
DJ, which one do you got? Oh, DJ, you muted yourself.
As much as I hate that guy who...
You know who I hate? I hate the guy who talks like a mime.
His mic on the podcast. What a
I was trying not to make noises during your stupid fucking ad read. So anyways...
Squad QL, ladies and gentlemen.
So, just Ben's a stupid fucker, not the Squad QL.
Yeah, it's so much smarter than I am.
It's a great read.
Anyways...
It's a great read.
Anyways, as much as I hate the fucking guy who, like, asks who's there... I only do one live draft, and at the point we get to that, it seems like everybody's doing that. I hate nice pick guy more than anybody, because if I make a pick, I know, or I already think it's a nice pick, otherwise I wouldn't make that fucking pick, you asshole. Like, I want to squeeze their fucking dumb faces and throw it through a wall. I can't take it anymore.
I love that this is the first time that we're going to be on YouTube, because this is the first time a black man's turned red.
I'm not red. Come on, let's be serious. But I cannot stand nice pick person, especially in the drafts that we're in with a bunch of fucking idiots. It already makes me angry. Like, I just don't care. I hope they're all listening. You're all idiots.
Nice.
Don't care.
All right,
I hate the nice pick. Sorry, let me cut you off. Like, the nice pick when it's not a nice pick. Like, I gotta, like, we do this stuff like a little bit more in like ADP and stuff, right? And I'm in a league. My, bless her heart, like my one aunt, she's just not good at football or fantasy football in general. And like every pick, like there's like I remember the one year, the very first year we ever did it. My uncle took Adam Vinatieri in the 3rd round, a kicker in the 3rd round, and she's like, great pick. He's the number 1 kicker. It's a great pick. And how, like, we're always, like, look back and, like, we think about it.
Yeah, you sure?
And there's nothing that drives me more nuts when I'm, like, thinking to myself, that's a terrible pick.
Right, yeah.
Like,
no.
Not only are you saying it, it's awful. It's absolute.
Let's get it straight here. Nice pick guy is basically you're saying, oh, nice pick because you took the guy I wanted. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, let's speed dealer's choice here. We got DJ, the cards are in your hand.
I just thought of just a random one. Has nothing to do with fantasy football. I asked Ben this the other day, so I want to know if you guys are in or out on this. So I heard a new name for a vagina now, and it has something to do with like gender, like equality or some shit. I don't care about that. It was like vagina's not inclusive for transgender people. That's not what I'm doing on this podcast. I don't care. I just like the new name that I read here. I am all in on calling it a vagina a front hole. I am calling it a front hole in every situation. Like, everything's a front hole now. Are you guys in or out on front holes?
I love the idea of being in a front hole, and I'm looking forward to what Mitchell says here, because he's got a date potentially after this, and there might be a front hole included.
Yeah, you might front hole her.
I like vagina way more than I like the
No
term
way!
front hole. And it's not even close. Like,
oh my god, it's so much fun to say.
No, dude, like, I mean, front hole, I'd rather just say,
yeah,
like,
it felt good, didn't it?
I'd rather just say, like,
You like
fallopian
that.
tubes or something.
No, say front hole again.
Front hole's not good.
It came out of your mouth so, like, nicely. It's just front hole. Like, it's, like, got some nice emphasis on it, too. It's just, I think maybe it's the F. It's like, fuck, front. Yeah.
And
fuck your front hole.
Vagina makes you sound like a doctor. Like, if you're not a doctor, why do you want to talk? Like, don't say the appropriate name, say the street name. Like, no one cares about the word vagina. I don't want to go down that road, to be honest with you. Let's move on. Mitchell, you're up.
All right, so my question for you guys is, y'all are both married, right? So would you rather – oh, you're getting there. Would you rather – I know he is. Would you rather, if you're in a fantasy football championship game or in a fantasy game in general, lose to your significant other or lose to each other?
Oh.
DJ?
That's a tough one.
Right?
I guess I'd rather lose to Ben because I don't have to live with him all the time, and he at least has. It might be the tiniest bit of fantasy football knowledge, but he at least has some. He's a big dumb fucking idiot. I mean, look at his stupid. I'm so glad people can see us now, so people can see his dumb fucking haircut he gets. But yeah, I think it's better because my wife would like tease me about it every fucking like second of the day, and I might actually end up being the guy that murders my family. Where with Ben, I can handle it.
It's real life right there. All right. The answer is super easy to me. I'd rather lose to my wife because then I'm going to give her congratulatory sex in the front hole. Bingo.
That sounds like a punishment for both of you.
It truly may be. All right. Let's do one more each, really quick, really freaking quick.
Oh shit.
Most underrated Kanye song.
None of them, because Kanye's terrible.
DJ?
I'm trying to think. How could you be so? What's that? That's that song.
I want to let you.
So, I can't remember what it is.
Heartless.
Heartless. There it is. Heartless. That's an underrated song.
Google it.
It's DJ thinks it's so underrated he doesn't even know the lyrics.
Yeah. Well, you fucking put me on the spot with this song.
How could you be so?
No. How could I be so worthless? That's DJ on the podcast right now.
You put me on the spot. I'm not good at those.
That's what Dealer's Choice is. We put you on the spot.
Yeah, with songs though. Like I'm not good at just picking somebody's random song out.
All right, fair enough. That's all I wanted. DJ, you're up.
I'm going back to fantasy football. Should Christian McCaffrey be going in the first round of PPR leagues?
Mitchell.
No.
I also agree with no. Mitchell, give us 30 seconds as to why to no.
Well, that's probably all I can last. So, C.J. Anderson right now is the guy who I think is the guy who I would take in the Carolina backfield in terms of ADP. Jonathan Stewart, 180 or 198 carries last year. If I think a guy like C.J. Anderson is going to get 198 carries on the Carolina Panther offense, that's the running back that I want from the Panthers offense. I like McCaffrey, but in round one of a PPR league, I understand the dude gets a lot of targets, 113 last year. Nope. I think he's going to lose a lot of targets this year to a guy like Greg Olsen and DJ Moore. So I'm good on McCaffrey.
Okay, so I actually like McCaffrey. I just couldn't pull the trigger on him round one. So if someone's going to pull the trigger on him in round one, by all means, I'll miss out on him in that league.
PPR.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean,
okay.
What happens if I mean, you can say this about anyone. What happens if he gets hurt, or what happens if the targets don't end up coming there? It's like, you want to put that on a second-year guy who, what did he have last year? 5 touchdowns. He averaged under 4 yards per carry. So at the end of the day, that's his primary job, and I understand he's going to get the catches. But the fact that he's only been in the league for 1 year, we don't know exactly what he's going to do and what he's going to produce. First round is way too rich for me. It comes back to the Saquon Barkley thing. There's so many other guys there that have proven themselves that I would definitely take a chance with over McCaffrey. So no, not a first round pick.
You can take them both in the first round.
What?
You can take both Saquon and Christian McCaffrey, like they can both go in the first round.
No, I'd lose the shit out of my league. I don't want that. DJ, what's your? Oh,
anyways.
All right, we're on Mitchell. We're on DJ.
That's fine. You want me to say my piece on it or no?
Nah, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
I think he should be. This guy finished as RB10 in PPR. This guy finished as RB10 in PPR with only 435 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns, so he barely carried the ball. C.J. Anderson's just garbage, period. He's
That's
bad.
False.
They're not going to use him. They're just not going to. I think he's going to be on the field all the time. I don't care about the reason. I think it's going to be a fact. And he'll continue to be used a ton in the passing game. I honestly think he could finish as a top 5 running back / wide receiver flex position, like overall, between RB and wide receivers in fantasy football. I think that he's going to be used that much and be that lethal. You're going to see those rushes, those touches go way up. You're going to see more like 800 to 1,000 yards and more touchdowns than 2 on the ground. I think he's going to be used a ton. I think he's going to be the focal point of that offense.
Mitchell, do you want to say anything in regards to that, or do you want to move on to your last dealer's choice?
I just don't. I don't think he's going to get that many touches. And C.J. Anderson isn't garbage. I mean,
he's garbage.
He had 1,000 rushing yards on the Denver Broncos. He's not that bad.
He's garbage.
If they're going to give 198 carries to Jonathan Stewart, who's losing out on Wayne Gallman, I'm okay with. I think C.J. Anderson gets 200 carries this year for the Panthers.
Cameron Artis-Payne is better than C.J. Anderson.
That's false.
That's not
extremely
false. No, not even close.
I bet you C.J. Anderson has more carries than Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, I'll bet that.
Okay.
100 million% I'll bet that.
100 million%.
That's a high percentage. I don't either. I have no idea what we're betting.
All right. You guys will figure that out. Mitchell, do your last one.
Cool. My last one is something that I'm going to talk about on my show tomorrow, and it's going to be my top. What?
Just kidding. Go
I
ahead.
didn't even give the name of the show. Relax. It's my top 5 rookie running backs. So who are your top 5 rookie running backs?
Oh, god damn it.
Yeah, what do you got to make me do all this work for?
Yeah, I have to fucking Google. Okay, Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
Sony Michel's my number 2.
Interesting. Okay.
Are we just counting the entire season fantasy football at the end? Because I actually like Sony Michel's second best out of all the running backs.
What do you mean?
Like, we talking fantasy-wise or just my top 5 fantasy? I mean, top 5.
Top 5 rookie running backs for fantasy football. So for me, my number 1 guy is Barkley. My number 2 guy is Royce Freeman, Kerryon Johnson, Sony Michel, and then Rojo.
This is impossible.
Yeah, I was just writing mine on our wall here. That's the exact same 5 I had. I only got to 3 of them so far. But I would say that, like right now, based on ADP, I'm not touching. I don't know if you can read this.
Nope.
All right.
I don't even know if Superman can
All
read
right.
it.
No one can definitely read this. Saquon Barkley, I'm not going to get a chance to get him. Royce Freeman, his ADP has climbed way too high. I know he's probably going to end up being as the starter. He's going to get the reps. I think that team's going to take a step forward. Just a little leery on a rookie running back in that offense. Plus, I was not high on Freeman coming out of the draft. So I'm going to pass on him because I think he's going in like the 4th round now. Right there, that says John. I don't know if anyone can read that. Probably not. Kerryon Johnson's my guy because
you love him.
Because I loved him going coming out of college. He's going in the 5th round right now. LeGarrette Blount's going to get carries. He's going to get goal line work. But, man, I know it's only preseason, but Kerryon Johnson has looked like an NFL running back, and I've thought that ever since watching him in college last year. Like, it means like a guy that can score on a consistent basis at the next level after college. That's what it means, DJ. And I think DJ doesn't believe this, and I know we got to get going here. But the Lions are going to have a little bit of transition in the way they play offense this year because of the fact that they have Johnson and Blount. There's 2 guys there that can tote the rock. Kerryon can catch it. Theo can catch it. Like, they're going to rely a little bit more on those running backs now, and I think they're going to get more touches. And I didn't think Kerryon would ever end up reaching a 5th round ADP, so it might be a little bit high. But if there's a rookie that I'm going to target, it would be Kerryon Johnson.
There's a lot of shit right there.
Speechless. You're all speechless.
I don't know. I don't even know this for fact, but I know Saquon, Sony. I'd probably go Rojo at 3. Kerryon at 4. I can get on that train, but I don't really have a 5th. I don't like Royce Freeman. I don't like Rashad Penny. There's not anybody I'm really excited about after the 4 guys, so it kind of is up in the air at 5.
Cool. I actually have a trivia question, too, for you guys, if you don't mind.
Perfect. Wing it.
Who are the only 2 running backs in the NFL to have 8+ rushing touchdowns the last 2 years?
Rushing?
Only 2 running backs to have 8+ rushing touchdowns the last 2 years.
LeGarrette Blount?
Wrong.
Fuck. Not Le'Veon Bell, is it?
Blount does have 20 rushing touchdowns the last 2 years. He's got 18 and 2.
18 and 2.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He took a step back. Le'Veon Bell didn't do it.
Not one of them?
Le'Veon Bell is not one.
So many running backs in the NFL.
Can you give us a hint?
Yeah, the one guy plays in the AFC West.
Okay.
The other guy plays in the NFC North.
So we got Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon is one of them. Correct.
Love him. And what was the other division?
NFC North.
Oh, Howard.
No.
It's not Jordan Howard?
It's not. He wears purple.
Latavius Murray?
Latavius Murray.
Oh, there's a name for you.
What the fuck?
And it's an interesting name because he's the guy who I compared on my show to Plan B, right? Dalvin Cook is no doubt Plan A.
Yeah.
Latavius Murray's Plan B. He is fantasy football Plan B. Like, Dalvin Cook is an amazing running back. But sometimes shit breaks. You need a guy like Latavius Murray. 216 carries last year. Reports right now are that he's going to split time. And I think it's going to actually happen that where he splits time. He's been a top 20 running back the last 3 years. And I don't really think Latavius Murray's very good. I really don't.
No.
But if you're telling me he's going to be a guy who could get like 200 carries in a Vikings offense, He's a running back who I like to target right now, who's literally RB 51. The plan B is also $51 after tax.
Oh!
That for you guys.
We should we definitely need to end the podcast on that note. So DJ, I hope you're cool with that.
Yep.
All right. As always, tweet any questions you'd like answered on the podcast at Loaded Box. Check out the website for our latest blogs, Fantasy Rankings Podcast, loadedboxpodcast.com. DJ, settle the hell down. That was so loud. Next episode is likely going to be our tight end rankings, which is DJ's favorite episode of the entire offseason. Make sure you get qualified for the OBJ mini helmet. We're available on iTunes, searching Loaded Box, subscribe, rate, and review. Mitchell, the shirt's coming off. Why don't you go ahead and plug yourself one more time before you plug someone else for the first time?
All right, guys, I'll plug my front hole here. You guys can follow me on Twitter, at Mitchell Renz 365, and you guys can please subscribe to Chat Sports on YouTube. Definitely appreciate that. And if you guys wanted to follow my Instagram account, Fantasy Football State of Mind, that'd be pretty lit as well. And if anybody wants to be on their show, shirtless or not, I would be more than happy to join.
Fair enough. Hey, we've been trying to get on your show. You're not ready for all of DJ spaghetti.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Get off.
All right,
Yeah, we'll
DJ, send us out.
Bye.